George of the jungle looks different to me. That's because Brendan Fraser said no siree. Okay. Welcome back to Sequel-A-Thon 3. We're doing George of the Jungle 2, of course. And yes, this was, okay. History was Scotty time, okay? I rented this when it came out back in the day. We rented this. I remember watching this on VHS. In 2003, we had VHS. We didn't have it, DVD player yet. And I liked it so much, my mom got it for me for my birthday or Christmas or something. Because I kept wanting to rent it. Because I loved it so much, apparently. So all these years later, 20 years. Oh my God, 20 years. 20 years. This movie came out 20 years ago. I don't want to think of the early 2000s as being 20 years ago. But yeah, this movie came out 20 years ago. Whew. That's just great. Big thing is it wasn't Brendan Fraser coming back. The only two cast members that really come back are John Cleese as Ape and Thomas Hayden Church as Lyle. And a couple of the Bukuvu, the African, those guys that go, bad guy falls from poop. Classic friends of physical comedy. Now's the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready? Ready. Two of those guys come back. Other than that, no one else comes back. George is now played by Christopher Showerman, and I know what you're thinking. Holmes? Yeah, he did some stuff. I know him from this and popping up on SoapNet. There was like a 1-minute soap opera they played during the commercials or whatever, and he was in it. I don't know. I don't remember anything else other than he replaced Brendan Fraser in this, and yeah. As George, he's fine. He's trying to do his best Brendan Fraser impression for sure, but he's fine. There's sometimes it comes off a little too quirky, but it works. However, they also replaced Leslie Mann, Ursula, with Julie Benz. Now, Julie Benz is not a bad actress. She's great in stuff like Buffy and Saw 5. They decided that they should play Ursula as a ditzy blonde. Ursula was anything but a ditzy blonde. Sure, the way that, that's the way that Leslie Mann kind of plays her role, but she was a strong female character, and they turned Ursula into a ditzy blonde character. Sure, she still has a little bit of the strong female stuff in there, but she's she's different. She's totally different. And then there's the other replacement. Ursula's mother, Beatrice Stanhope, which in the original was played brilliantly by Holland Taylor. Here, it's Christina Pickles. Now, on one hand, I would have loved it if they got Holland Taylor to come back, because George Jr. is played by Angus T. Jones, who would be on 2.5 Men 2 years, or maybe the same year. He would be on that show. So that would be interesting. But got Christina Pickles. And much like I mentioned of the other two replacements, she's not as good as Holland Taylor was in the first film. And by the way, it's one thing that's not mentioned, and it's what happened to her husband. Like, Ursula had a father on the first one. He's never mentioned or brought up here. At the end of the first one, Ape stayed. They said that Ape went to entertainment business. So that's what he's doing here. But he's secretly working for Lyle, I guess, or he's in Lyle's casino. He doesn't know it's Lyle's casino, I guess, in Vegas. And Lyle swindles him into working for him. Maybe he wasn't working for Lyle, but now he is. He owes him 17 years worth of debt. And so George has to go all the way from the Bukuvu to Vegas to help Ape, while also trying to juggle the fact that Ursula, he's having trouble, doing his job between Ursula and, being king of the jungle. So he's kind of going back and forth, having problems with that. And then Beatrice shows up. And she is working with Lyle to get Ursula and Junior back to the mainland so that they could set up this scam for her to marry Lyle. I don't know how that plan was going to work other than the way they went with it. But, yeah. Anything she's trying isn't working. You can tell George needs to go help Abe. So they all fly to Vegas, and that's how it all goes. So there's some fourth wall breaking. There's a lot of fourth wall breaking jokes in this. I'm just mentioning when they go back to the Bakuvu, they're in a bigger crate because New George learned a lesson from Brendan Fraser in the last film. Also, when George is introduced, the narrator says, "Hey, wait a minute, who are you?" "I'm New George. Studio too cheap to hire Brendan Fraser," which is a line that I've always laughed at, but it's fourth wall breaking humor. And then the ultimate fourth wall break at the end of the film, Lyle mouths off to the narrator, and the narrator picks him up by his underwear and drags him all the way up and takes him out of the goddamn movie. I don't want to know what happened to him. No, he's gone. Bye, Lyle. See you later. Or not. Yeah, I didn't remember that part. I also don't remember a thing at the end of the credits. So, after the end of the movie, they play the George of the Jungle song a million times in the credits. And then towards the end of the credits, the narrator starts narrating again about, so, that brings us to the end of the movie. We don't care about credits anyway. And all of a sudden, a female voice comes along and says, actually, we're contractually obligated to play the credits. To play the credits all the way through. And he's like, who are you? She's like, I'm the narrator from Mulan. And then they hook up. You hear, and I'm like, the fuck? I don't remember that at all. Maybe I didn't watch it all the way through the credits. I must not have. Because I don't remember that at all. But, a lot of fourth wall breaking jokes. But, so anyway, while they're at this show, they introduce this hypnotist, played by John Kassir. You may know as the voice of the Crypt Keeper, or from season 1 of the Amanda Show. He plays this hypnotist guy that comes back later and hypnotizes Ursula. Now, I don't understand how they go about this. First of all, the hypnotism is flimsy to begin with. Because, they hypnotize her to believing she's married with Lyle. She's married to Lyle. All of her 3 friends are also hypnotized and believing Ursula is married to Lyle. I thought it was going to be some kind of joke where they all think they are married to Lyle, because they're right there, but no. They believe Ursula is married to Lyle. Which doesn't make any sense, because he's not telling them, you have to believe that Ursula is married. No, he is talking to Ursula, hypnotizing her to be married to Lyle. So, technically, they should all think they're married to Lyle, because even Beatrice is wearing headphone things. I don't know. I know it's to forget George, but still. She forgets who George is. She's married to Lyle. But she's having a hard time believing she's married to Lyle. Which is confusing. Which means that the hypnotism to forget George was stronger than being married to Lyle. I think it was implied, but I don't know. But their solution for this is that she mentioned earlier that when I find the perfect man, the one I'm destined to be with my true love, when we kiss, there will be fireworks and wedding bells and stuff. And so George has to kiss her 3 times for this to work. Because he kisses her once, you hear the wedding bells. Kisses her twice, fireworks. And he kisses her again, and there's a freaking rocket going into space. And I'm like, why 3 times? And then later, they show that he has to kiss each of Ursula's friends to reverse their hypnotism, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know. But there's one big issue that's never addressed with this hypnotism. Junior. And Junior is there, but he's never used the way he should be. he just kind of goes along for the ride because Ursula's hypnotized and Junior goes with them back to San Francisco, and George shows up. Like, he's like, okay, come on. He's like, you're not my father. Kicks him in the shin. And I'm like, yeah, he's not his father. But that's the only protesting we get from Junior. And Junior doesn't try to, to tell his mom, hey, that's not my dad. You're married to George of the Jungle. No, nothing. And when George tries to convince her, Junior doesn't think going, yeah, Mom, he's right. That's my dad. That's your husband. No, he just stands there. Well, that's the deal with Junior. I turned into Jerry Seinfeld over here. Yeah, I don't know. It's confusing. And it breaks down because Lyle gets the deed to the Bakuvu, because it's in George's flap, or loincloth, as you normally call it. Not the one that he's wearing, but one that's just randomly in a closet. And he finds it. And so, just because he grabs it out of his drawers, he thinks, okay, I own the Bakuvu. No. You have to go through legal rights. Just because you have the deed in your hand, I know, kids movie, but still, just because you're holding that deed in your hand does not legally make it yours. You can't just go, oh, I have the deed right here for the Bakuvu. I'm going to go tear it down. I own it now. No, you're just holding it in your hand. Right? You're holding it in your hand. This is a map to Jumanji, by the way. You're holding it in your hand. You don't own this. You have to go through courts and legal processes to legally own that property. But whatever, kids movie. So he's gonna bulldoze down the place, which takes fucking ever to do because we have to draw it out so that George can show up. And inexplicably, Lyle's two henchwomen somehow also make it to the Bakuvu, even though they were busy searching every nook and cranny. Yeah, there's stupid jokes in this. But, yeah. I don't know. And eventually George is able to defeat Lyle. Like, technically kidnaps Ursula because it's against her will and she gets knocked out, so he just takes her. Which was in the first one, so I can't really. There's a lot of things in this. Like, to do a wedding again, even though it makes no sense, they're just renewing their wedding vows. And Tuki is the one doing it, even though Ape did it in the first one, I think. I don't know. But the climax with Lyle is kind of lackluster compared to the first one. They had that whole chase down the river. Here, George picks him up, does a fourth wall break, and then puts him on a tree. He gets down and holds him by gunpoint, only to piss off the narrator and get pulled into wherever and beyond. So, I don't know. I guess it's a bit funnier, but I mean, never piss off a narrator again. And that's it. Oh, and Ursula's mom gets molested by an ape. Not ape, but another one who keeps flirting with her, and it's sad. It's not good. But I'm gonna give us the middle of the road. And it has, of course, gone down. Oh, I forgot to talk about. Oh, I've got to talk about the worst thing in this movie. Rocky the Kangaroo. They decided that they're going to have a kangaroo as a character in this movie, and that's fine. But he's full CGI. Now, Kangaroo Jack came out around about the same time as this, but it looked way better than this damn kangaroo. And really, throughout that movie, that kangaroo was only CGI partially throughout the film. Every single time we see this kangaroo, it's CGI, and it's not good CGI, and it's jarring. Tuki is better and animated better than this thing. No. When it gets to the middle of the road for me, I'm sitting here watching this and going, why did I keep watching this so much? The first one's way better, but the only copy I had of that was off of the Wonderful World of Disney when it was on there. But I still watch this one more. I don't know, but It's not completely terrible. Like, it's not one of the worst. It's on the I think it's more on the upside of the direct-to-video sequels that Disney did back in the day. There's worse. There's worse. I'm looking at you, Jungle Book 2. Why? Just why? This and Lady and the Tramp 2, I think it was sequels. I used to watch Lady and the Tramp 2 all the time. I love that song Scamp sings about a world without fences. In a world without fences. That song. Oh, Extremely Good for Me is another one that's not so good. I didn't care for it. Anyway, what are your thoughts on George of the Jungle 2? Let me know in the comments. Let me sure like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. I'm going to try to do one more tonight. Knock out 4. Why not? I got time. Enough for me to really get my dinner. But anyway, I'll see you in the next one.